He walked with a limp, carried a briefcase, and for 6 years, he was the CIA's ghost inside Moscow. No codename made him safe. No silence kept him hidden. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't trained. He was an engineer who chose to betray an empire. This is the story of Adolf Tolkachev, the spy who infiltrated the KGB. Before the briefcase, before the secrets, before the man who walked through Moscow unseen, there was a desk, a room with no windows, and a man who built things designed to find and kill from far away. Adolf Tolkachev was not a defector. He was not a spy. He was an engineer, a patriot once, decorated for his mind, trusted with the Soviet Union's most sensitive weapons research. He designed radar systems for fighter jets, invisible eyes, the kind that watched from the sky and didn't blink. But no machine is perfect, and no man is immune to disappointment. His disappointment began at home. His wife, Natasha, had written a novel, quiet, sad, nothing dangerous. But the censors saw something subversive. She was banned from publishing. His son, Oleg, applied to a university. Top marks, impeccable record, but the wrong background. One relative on the wrong list. He was denied, no reason given, just refused. Tolkachev watched as the machine he had helped build, the state, chewed up the people he loved. Slowly he began to pull away. He stopped shaving, smiled less, spoke less. But he paid attention to which colleagues disappeared, to which phrases got people reassigned, to how many phones clicked when you picked them up. And in the quiet hours, after work, after dinner, he began to take notes, not of ideas, not of blueprints, of names. People who had ruined lives with a signature, officers who lied, scientists who sabotaged their own. What he felt wasn't a sudden awakening. It wasn't heroic. It was slow, like rust. The rot inside the machine had reached him, and he decided to rot it from the inside. In Moscow, every conversation was a risk, every gesture, a signal, every silence, an alarm. The KGB had eyes in every window, ears in every telephone. But Adolf Tolkachev, the quiet engineer with a limp, was done being afraid. It started small, a thought sharpened into intent. Then one day, he left his office early, walked through the snow to a parked car outside the American embassy, slipped a note under the windshield. It said, "I have information that could help you. I want to talk." No signature, no threat. Just the sound of paper moving like a whisper between two worlds. The CIA ignored it. They thought it was a trap. He tried again. And again. For almost a year, Tolkachev risked his life for silence, but he kept coming back. Until finally, in 1979, a single envelope landed on the right desk in Langley. It contained precise technical drawings, details only a traitor could know. The Americans called him the billion-dollar spy, but to the KGB, he was invisible. The first handoff didn't happen in a dark alley. It was a parked car on a crowded street, a place too public to look suspicious. Tolkachev arrived on time, wearing his usual coat, the briefcase held tight under one arm like a lifeline. Inside that case, folded beneath newspaper and sandwiches, were secrets. Secrets that would change how the West understood Soviet power. He gave them radar schematics, vulnerability reports, flight characteristics of every major fighter jet in Soviet service. Not rumors, not secondhand memos, original documents, stamped and signed. The CIA had never seen anything like it, not from inside Moscow. What he gave them altered decades of assumptions. They learned the Soviet air defense network wasn't invincible, that its radar arrays had blind spots wide enough for entire squadrons, that new MiG designs had fatal weaknesses. American engineers stopped guessing. They started knowing. In Langley, his report spread like fire, and while the agency debated how to pay him, what he asked for was almost nothing. A Western radio, penicillin for his wife, books, Solzhenitsyn, Orwell, forbidden authors. The only thing he truly wanted was to be heard. Revenge was his currency, the kind you spend in whispers. Espionage is not glamour, it is repetition. It is walking the same path every day and wondering if someone new is following. It is smiling at your neighbors while wondering if they've noticed your trash weighs too much. Tolkachev became a ghost, not because he vanished, but because he made himself forgettable. He took the same route to work, wore the same coat, ate the same lunch. He never looked behind him, not because he wasn't afraid, but because fear would show. He learned to hide cameras inside pens, to fold paper without leaving creases, to write codes so simple they looked like nothing at all. His apartment became a museum of deception, film hidden behind wall panels, messages tucked in light fixtures, microdots taped behind pictures of Lenin. He taught himself invisible ink. He built dead drops and telephone poles. He received instructions by marks on park benches and answered in pages torn from matchbooks. Every conversation became a risk calculation, every silence a warning. And yet, in all of it, he never flinched. Because to him, betrayal had already happened. This was not treason. It was justice, carried out one roll of film at a time. In Moscow, nothing lasts. Not buildings, not snow, not silence, not even ghosts. For 6 years, Adolf Tolkachev passed secrets into American hands. 6 years. Of risking everything and asking for nothing. But spies don't retire, they disappear. It started with a shadow, a car he didn't recognize, a coworker asking too many questions, a phone that clicked twice, then went dead. And then, one morning, the usual didn't happen. He left for work, but he never arrived. No public arrest, no trial, no charges read aloud, just absence. In Langley, the reports stopped coming. Weeks passed, then months, and silence began to rot into dread. Later, they would learn what happened. A man inside the CIA, Aldrich Ames, sold secrets to the Soviets for cash. And in those secrets was Tolkachev's name, his routes, his drop points, his handwriting, all of it sold. The KGB took him. They interrogated him for months, and then they killed him. Not quickly, not cleanly. His death was not reported. It was not acknowledged. He simply ended. The silence after a man disappears is different from the silence before. It feels heavier, like a door that was left ajar, now sealed tight. When Adolf Tolkachev vanished, no one in Moscow asked where he had gone. That kind of question could get you followed. His neighbors said nothing. His coworkers looked away. One day, he simply stopped coming to work. His desk was cleared, his name erased from the sign-in sheet. No one touched his coffee mug. And in Langley, the messages stopped. The CIA sent notes across dead channels, empty codes, waiting for a reply that would never come. His handler scanned the morning intercepts, each day more hollow than the last. Is he in hiding? Did he go dark? Has he been caught? And then, inevitably, is he dead? What they didn't know, couldn't know, was that the betrayal had already happened, not in Moscow, but in Langley. In 1985, Aldrich Ames, a CIA counterintelligence officer, began selling American secrets to the KGB. Names, operations, dead drops, and files. Among them, everything Tolkachev had ever given. For $50,000, Ames gave up a man who'd risked his life to slow an empire. The KGB didn't act right away. They watched, listened, waited, and then, one day, they took him. Quietly, without a scene, no headlines, no court. Just 4 walls, a single light, and a man who'd outlived his utility. The Americans found out much later, through back channels and whispers. He'd been held for months, interrogated, beaten, and eventually executed. The date was unclear, the manner never confirmed. Some said it was a bullet, others a hanging. Officially, he never existed. No trial, no appeal. His death was classified by the KGB as an internal matter. The CIA put his file in a drawer labeled compromised, closed, forgotten by most, but not by all. History loves symbols, heroes with flags, villains with guns. But Adolf Tolkachev had neither. No uniform, no speeches, no legacy shaped for textbooks, just a desk, a briefcase, and the certainty that no one was coming to save him. His war was not against a nation. It was against a silence. the kind that strangles the truth in its crib, that edits lives out of existence with a rubber stamp, that rewards cruelty and calls it order. He did not act out of ideology. He acted because the system had betrayed his family, and because in a society built on watching, he found a way to watch back, with notes, with film, with stolen truths. And while the world turned, he lived a second life between the cracks, not for glory, but for balance. He kept no journal, left no confessions. What we know of him, we know from what he gave away. After his death, the CIA debated how to remember him, but names were still classified, faces still redacted, and so Tolkachev remained invisible, even in the house he helped protect. There are no statues for the quiet ones, no parades for those who vanish between two lines in a report. But look close, and you can see his fingerprints everywhere, in every stealth aircraft designed to slip past Soviet eyes, in every defense strategy reshaped by the knowledge he bled for, in the subtle shift of a balance that once seemed immovable. That was his legacy. Not a revolution, but a recalibration, a single weight on a scale heavy with lies. Sometimes, that's enough, because not all victories are loud. Some echo like whispers in an archive, long after the lights go out.